everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. My name is Ginger Pierce, and I am a travel agent with Marvelous Mouse Travels. Welcome to the Sweet 16 results show of our 2025 Marvelous Madness tournament. I am so excited to reveal our Elite Eight to you tonight. And to help me do that, I have my better half, my husband, Evan.
Hi, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well this evening.
Yes. So Ev, there were some close matchups in this particular, round. Maybe not quite as many razor thin margins as we saw
just a couple.
Yeah, but definitely a couple and a few surprises. So I'm excited for everybody to see how this one turned out.
All righty. Well, so if we start up on the Disney side of the bracket in the top left corner, Guardians of the Galaxy going up against Soarin'. And no surprise, all Epcot matchup there, but Guardians of the Galaxy did win. It was 79% to 21%.
And I think that is the closest match that Guardians has had against anything, which I think, shows you how great of a ride Soarin' is. The fact that it got some votes from some people, even though it's up against the individual Lightning Lane attraction in Epcot. But, Guardians is my overall favorite ride at Disney. So I'm happy to see it move on.
Now, this next one was one of the close ones. Kilimanjaro Safari is going up against Tron. Two very different rides, by the way. One in Magic Kingdom, one in Animal Kingdom. But one, you're just sitting in a bus on a safari. It's really cool because you can see all the animals. The other one, you're riding a Tron cycle and flying through everywhere, So very different rides. Tron did win. Very close margin. It was 59% to 41%.
Yeah. And, these rides we talked about this on the last results show. These are totally different experiences. Kilimanjaro Safari is one of the longest rides in Disney World. Tron is one of the shortest, completely different thrill levels. One of them is, you pretty much everybody can ride it. The other maybe is a little bit too intense for some people, but I love Tron. It's obviously one of the newer attractions, and the Tron queue is also, we haven't talked about that yet, but the Tron queue is also really, really cool. Like, even if you are going through the Lightning Lane, you still get to experience what, in my opinion, is the coolest part of that queue. And I won't spoil it if you haven't ridden it, but it's really neat.
Agreed. It is fantastic. All right. So the bottom half of the bracket on the Disney side, we've got People Mover going up against Slinky Dog. Now, listen, People Mover's coming off a major upset over Rise of the Resistance, so I had no idea what to expect here. It wasn't super close, but it was a little close. But Slinky Dog Dash did win 70% to 30%.
And Slinky Dog Dash probably should win. I mean, in my opinion, as much as I love the People Mover, I think that Slinky Dog Dash is just genuinely a more fun ride. And it definitely, draws more crowds than People Mover. Slinky Dog Dash is on the Lightning Lane system, whereas People Mover is not, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. When you're going to Hollywood Studios, there's a couple rides that people try to rope drop, which means they try to go there first. The number one is Rise of the Resistance. And I would say probably a close second is Slinky Dog Dash. That's where, people want to go first thing in the morning in Hollywood Studios.
For sure. For sure. All righty. And then the last matchup on the Disney side of the bracket, we had Seven Dwarfs Mine Train going up against Flight of Passage. Two very different rides again. And this is another one that was very close. Remember, anything really in the 60s to 40s, that's a pretty close matchup, honestly. If it's 50s, that's very, very close. So Flight of Passage did win by a narrow margin of 60% to 40%.
This was one where these two rides were actually tied on one platform, and then there was a little bit of a lead of Flight of Passage on the other platform, and that was what kind of tipped it in Flight of Passage's favor. And I love both of these rides. This was the match that I said, I think this will be the one to watch. And I think for the Disney side, it definitely was. And it was kind of right up until the end. It kept going back and forth all day. So Flight of Passage, though, is probably the better ride, if I'm being unbiased about it.
Well, so if you look at the Disney side of the bracket, the final 4 rides on this side of the bracket, check this out. You have one from every park. Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind from Epcot, Tron from Magic Kingdom, Slinky Dog Dash from Hollywood Studios, and Flight of Passage from Animal Kingdom. How much does that give kudos to Disney that they have the rides so well spread out that the top 4 rides, as voted on by all of you, show that you got something great in each park?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I tell people all the time. I don't think there's a skippable park at Disney World. And I think moving into the next round, the one to watch is going to be Guardians versus Tron, because those are 2 coasters. They're 2 new coasters. They're both individual Lightning Lane Pass attractions in their respective parks. So that one is going to be really, really interesting to see how that one goes down.
And for the most part, based on how the voting turned out, people agreed with your rankings, because Guardians was your number 1 overall ride. Tron was your number 4 overall ride. So both of those theoretically should have advanced to this far. Flight of Passage was your number 2 overall, or number 3 overall ride. And Slinky Dog was your number 6 overall ride. So your number 2 overall, Rise of the Resistance, didn't advance. And so your number 1, 3, and 4 all advanced. The only one that was different was number 2 didn't make it. Instead, Slinky Dog as number 6 made it.
And also, it's interesting that all of those are individual Lightning Lane attractions except for Slinky Dog. It is the only one that's on the Lightning Lane multi-pass system.
Well, let's move over to the Universal Orlando side of the bracket. Continuing its domination, Hagrid's destroyed Flight of Passage, 92% to 8%.
Yeah, this is not a surprise. I mean, Flight of the Hippogriff is a great ride for what it is, but you put it up against Hagrid's and there's just no contest.
Escape from Gringotts going up against the Hulk. And I was literally shocked. And I still question this. What's going on, folks? Escape from Gringotts beat the Hulk 79% to 21%. So it wasn't even close. Like, what?
Well, I mean, Escape from Gringotts is a family coaster, right? So it's more accessible for more people because not everybody loves super intense roller coasters. Plus the queue. I mean, I really think a big part of why people love Escape from Gringotts so much is that awesome ride queue.
Yeah, I think you're right. So 2 Harry Potter themed rides advancing on thus far on this side of the bracket. Let's look at the bottom half. Velocicoaster going up against the Hogwarts Express leaving from Hogsmeade. And Velocicoaster did win, but it was only 71% to 29%, so it was fairly close.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by that. I expected the margin of victory to be a little bit higher for Velocicoaster, but people love Hogwarts Express.
And then our closest matchup of the entire round on both sides of the bracket was the Hogwarts Express leaving from King's Cross Station right outside Diagon Alley, going up against Forbidden Journey. Forbidden Journey is the ride inside Hogwarts Castle in Hogsmeade. In a narrowest of margins, the Hogwarts Express did win, 54% to 46%. I mean, we're talking just a few votes separating them.
Yeah, and it's cool how this worked out too, because in this final four on this side of the bracket, there's two rides from each park. So you have Velocicoaster and Hagrid's from Islands of Adventure, and then you have Escape from Gringotts and Hogwarts Express from King's Cross Station in Universal Studios, and three Harry Potter rides. The only non-Harry Potter themed ride to advance is Velocicoaster, which says a lot for Velocicoaster, that it's not just the theming that people love about that ride, it's the actual ride experience itself.
So you got dinosaurs, whole bunch of wizards. That's what you got here.
Yeah, who's gonna win? We'll see.
I do think you made a great point though, because just like the rides were literally spread out completely evenly from all the Disney parks, it's the exact same thing right now at Universal. There's two in each park. That says a lot about those parks.
Absolutely. Not a skippable park on either side of the board.
As far as how this played out, with people agreeing or disagreeing with your ranking, your number one overall ride, Hagrid's, and your number two overall ride, Velocicoaster, both did advance. 3 and 4 did not. You had Hollywood Ride Rocket as number 3, which I totally agree with, and you had Hulk number 4, which I also totally agree with. However, Hogwarts Express from Diagon Alley, which was number 5 on your list. It would have been the next one, it advanced, and Escape from Gringotts, which was number 7 on your list, also advanced. Number 6 was Hogwarts Express from Hogsmeade, but it just couldn't overcome Velocicoaster.
Yeah, so going into this next round, we're going to have Hagrid's up against Escape from Gringotts. I think I know which way that one's going to go, but I also thought Rise of the Resistance would beat People Mover, so I always predict these things.
I'm going to be voting for Hagrid's. That's what I'll be voting for.
Yes, and then Velocicoaster up against the Hogwarts Express. I mean, this one honestly could be interesting to see which way it goes, because people do love the Hogwarts Express and it's iconic. So it'll be interesting. I think that might be the matchup to watch in this next round.
Back-to-back rounds with Velocicoaster having to face the Hogwarts Express, just different directions on the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah, and I think, what might make this one the one to watch is the fact that it is that more, in my opinion, iconic side of the Hogwarts Express, because it's leaving from King's Cross. It's the same direction as the Harry Potter books and the Harry Potter movies. And, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that one goes.
Well, and we can't forget, on this one at King's Cross Station, you do get to run through the wall onto platform 9 3/4.
That's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that, but you do. You get to run through the wall. You get to see Hedwig and Harry's trunk. You get to see that iconic 9 3/4 signage. So there's a lot of things to love and appreciate about the Hogwarts Express in that particular direction.
So once again, you got two very different matchups here, especially the bottom half with Velocicoaster and Hogwarts. Totally different rides. The Hogwarts Express, and like Ginger said, this might be something to its advantage. The Hogwarts Express is anybody. I mean, like there is no fear of the ride being too intense, something like that. So it is appealing to more people than Velocicoaster would, because Velocicoaster is intense. Like there's no doubt. It is. If this were a bracket of most intense ride, it's an easy call. It's Velocicoaster, and everybody else can go have dinner at Cracker Barrel. Nothing else could compare. Velocicoaster would take the cake easily.
Yeah.
So we'll see what ends up happening. Personally, I'm going to vote for Velocicoaster because I love that ride. I love it. On the Disney side of the bracket, this one is tough for me because I love Slinky Dog, but objectively speaking, I know Flight of Passage is a better ride, but I really like Slinky Dog. So that's going to be a tough one. Guardians and Tron, piece of cake, easy. It's Guardians. Guardians is, well, I'm not going to give away everything that I think about Guardians, but I'll put it this way. The two rides that I would expect to be in the championship are still in the running right now. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of think I see how this one might be going. And if the two that I'm expecting to go into the championship are the two that end up in the championship, it would be really, really hard. Even though I don't vote, it would be really, really hard for me to have to choose between the two
Absolutely.
because I love them both so much. So that would be really hard. But that's why we're doing this, because we want to see what's objectively the best ride in Orlando.
So as we look at the Elite Eight here, we got Guardians of the Galaxy, Tron, Slinky Dog Dash, Flight of Passage, Hagrid's, Escape from Gringotts, Velocicoaster, and Hogwarts Express leaving from King's Cross Station. Ginger, when can people vote on these matchups?
The voting for this will go live in my Facebook and Instagram stories tomorrow morning, and it'll stay open all day tomorrow, Monday. And then Evan and I will go live again on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern to reveal our final four. So we're excited about that. So again, we really appreciate all of you that have voted and that have watched the live streams and have commented. That's always really fun when people engage and are excited about this. So, thank you so much for being part of Marvelous Madness, and we look forward to seeing how this all shakes out. So, thanks so much for watching with us tonight. We hope everybody has a great night.
Have a great evening, everybody.